Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi.
Well, here we are. Another episode of But Am I Wrong?
Another day has come. To be fair, also another evening has come.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here to come no. Because either way, come for you sounds like we're orgasming for you or like you've got a target on your back.
To attack you.
Yeah, like I don't think either of those things, I can't imagine that is what you want in this moment, nor have you consented to either. So my apologies. We're rephrasing. We're here for you. Happy Thursday.
Correct.
Welcome to But Am I Wrong? A podcast where we, two people who have absolutely never once been wrong, tell you and other people when they've been wrong. Because what sounds more fun than that? Honestly, truly nothing. That's why we created this podcast. This is our happy place. We love this shit. So we've got a bunch of different segments. We will get into what each of them are before we dive into each one of them. But just know it involves some of your participation, not just listening to this episode. You all get to vote on who you think was wrong. So it's not just us. We say who we think is wrong in situations, and then you get to head on over to our Instagram before Monday, or in this case, last week it was Monday. But I'm getting better at this. We're getting on a better schedule, and I am, Melissa, because last time I think I did it on...
No, the last 2 weeks you've done it on a Monday, and then the week
time I did it on
before
a Tuesday, so I thought I did better.
That was 3 times ago, I believe.
Okay, so we've been stagnant for a bit. I'm not going to put any... I've been stagnant for a bit.
But to be fair, you said that you were going to be on holiday time until I got back in town, so...
My brain heard that and my immune system in my body heard that. And we said, cool, we're going to operate at like 0.7%. And that's been how I've been operating. So I'm so excited that, you are back in Los Angeles. And therefore, apparently, somehow my brain is going to kick back into high gear and start working. I don't need it to operate at 100%. I don't know that it's ever operated at 100%, but I could go for a solid 25, 15. Like, that would be nice.
Let's go to 75.
No, I know, but I'm at a 0.7 right now. Like, that's where my brain has been. It could be that I ate old chicken, but, it is what it is.
I want you to stop saying that because every time you say it, a little bit of bile raises in my throat.
I need you to not say the word bile, and I can agree to that condition if you can agree to that condition. Cool. Great. Moving on.
Virtual handshake.
Virtual handshake. Perfect. So, all that being said, anything we want to talk about before we get into the episode, or should we get into the episode?
If you want to hear anything that we're going to talk about, go back to Tuesday, and then there's an update on our lives.
That is true, because we're here for you so many days of the week. You're welcome in advance. It's your turn, right?
I think so. So first, we're going to start out with But Am I Wrong? And that is when we pick instances in our own lives that we may have been wrong about. So first I want to start out with an honorable mention for me. At my parents' house, one of my dad's friends was like, you know that you're attractive, right? And I said, yes, I do. I guess he thought I was going to say, oh, thank you. But I said, yes, I do. And then my dad goes, she looks like me. And then I said to my dad's friend, are you attracted to my dad? And then he went silent.
They walked into that. You're fucking kidding me. Oh my God.
So was I wrong for saying that, or did I not go hard enough?
No, I mean, what else are you supposed to say? You clearly pointed out the obvious. Like they handed you these fucking softball underhand shit that you go, oh, okay, you've dropped all of these pieces. I guess I'll just pick them up. Like I wouldn't even say that was, if this was a TV show, I would go, it's pretty on the nose. Like that's just like, I can't.
Yeah.
Why do men say things like that?
I don't know. I truly don't know. So he set me up and then he told me that I acted just like my dad. And I said, well, you like spending a lot of time with my dad. So what are you trying to say?
You love his looks and his personality.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy for you both. I won't stand in your way. Mom might, but hey, that's something you take up with her. I don't need to be involved in that conversation.
Not my problem.
That's so funny. I do think it's hilarious when like men have this idea that like they give you a compliment and you're like, oh my God, no. And then they're like, oh, you just accepted it? Like just, you agree? And I'm like, you said it first. And I just agreed with your sentiment.
Thanks.
Oh,
I have a mirror. Funny. Okay, but here's my actual one. It's nothing personal.
I do want everyone to know that like, I don't think all your sisters are private. Are they all private on Instagram?
Melanie is.
Okay. So if Meghan's not private on Instagram, I'm not speaking in third person. I'm talking about her other sister. And there's no way for anyone to verify this. Just know that Melisa's entire family has like the strongest genes in the entire world. So you look so much like your mom. You look so much like your dad. All of the nieces and nephews all look so alike. And so I will say that I do think he walked into it from the start because there's no chance that any of your parents or family members would let anyone skate by without being like, we all have the same face.
I literally, depending on which parent I'm standing by, my sisters call me a shapeshifter because I look exactly like both of them. And then there were a few pictures of younger mom and I showed the nieces and nephews and they swore it was me.
Yeah. Some of your sister's kids, I mean, you look like all of them, but there are a couple of them that like look like they came out of your vagina. Like, you like those genes are powerful and it's obvious. So I do think he had to have known that your dad was gonna, because who's not gonna stake the claim for that?
Of course.
Like, that's my face. I gave it to her.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. All right. So here's my actual, but am I wrong? I don't think it's that much of a hot take, but it's something that really grinds my gears. Is that when I'm out with somebody at a restaurant, or it might be a store, any sort, and they're rude to the service workers, I'm just like, why? Why are you being rude to, first of all, somebody, if you're out at a restaurant, somebody that's handling your food, you're just setting yourself up for it.
It's like being mean to your brain surgeon. I'm like, the fuck are you doing that for?
Mm-hmm. Or you like get mad at a grocery worker because they don't know where a single item is in the store. There's thousands of things here. Why are you getting mad? Or like somebody that snaps their fingers at, again, service workers, or somebody that doesn't tip is a huge red flag to me. Or also like more specifically at a restaurant when the server gives their name and then like you don't use their name. You call them waiter or server. Like, why? My hot take is like anybody that is rude to any type of service worker, they should not be in your life.
I wholeheartedly agree with it. I think that there's like a huge influx of people now who have it also still, it like happens with a lot of like conservative people who like will be like, America's the greatest place ever. But then they will use all of these like European like reasonings of like, they don't tip in Europe. Like, why should I? Like, I should be tipping for exemplary service. not bad service. And I'm like, and yet you're the pull them up by the bootstraps, like get yourself to work kind of thing. And then you don't want to pay for the work that you say people need to do to achieve success that you are negatively contributing to.
Mm-hmm. And maybe like, you know, voting to have people tax fairly, you know, that would contribute to you not having to tip.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I so agree with it. I think that I think of tipping like 15% is like the baseline, but like 20% is like 15% is if I had horrible service. 20% is like my given.
It was fine.
Yeah. And then anything better is going to get more. But like the lowest I will give is 15%. Like, unless it's like you slapped me across the face and I hadn't eaten my food yet, then I'm not going to tip you. Like, and why did you slap me? What did I do?
And then if you go to like a restaurant and you're there late, like later than they actually, like you come an hour before they close, and then the wait staff they're a little grumpy. It's the end of the day. At the end of your shift or whenever you're done working, are you not a little grumpy? And then you like expect them to stay open for you later, and then you don't tip them. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They don't want you there. Go home. Get your food to go.
I truly think bad service is if you gave something to me that I'm allergic to after like multiple corrections and you were mean about it or rude about it and you didn't care and you like literally were like, I'm not going to like give this back, like eat it. Like, or you. But
like, and where are you going to go that actually happens? That doesn't exist.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not that. Like, that's like what I consider bad service. And that doesn't happen. And so like if like someone being slow, taking too long, it takes too long to get like whatever, maybe they're not like, you don't perceive them as like friendly or talkative enough. I'm like, that's not bad service to me. Like bad service is like you have offended and disrespected me or the people that I'm with intentionally and repeatedly. Like, and I have done my part by trying to like, you know, course correct or whatever it is. And you've doubled like that to me is bad service. And if it's that, I'm leaving. I'm not eating there. And the idea that like people will be like, well, no, it was like really bad service and like I didn't tip. But I'm like, so it was so bad, but you stayed the whole time. You got your food, you ordered, you ate there. And then your response, you just didn't tip. Like if it's so bad that you're not going to tip someone, like just leave.
Just leave. Why are you still here?
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's also like so unattractive. Like if I was on a date with someone.
It is. It's the most unattractive thing. I'm like, I'd rather just leave. I'm not going to sit through. And again, like your friendship and the company keep a reflection on you. I will tip the person and get up and leave. Because I'm not going to sit here and be with somebody that's just rude or disrespectful. That means that they don't have respect for themselves.
No, and they think of themselves as better than service workers who have like an incredible work ethic. They're met with like just constant like verbal abuse and sometimes physical from customers and all of that shit. But then also like you think that you're above that when in the reality, like that's like the only like one of the few constant industries we have. And like your job is not going to be like that's not a constant. Like having like a white collar job is fucking crypto shuts down, like a bank goes out of business, like whatever it is, like there is not job security there. The service industry will always be around. They're like not going to fucking forget if you're a piece of fucking shit.
Right.
So you are not wrong at all.
Thank you.
And it haunts me to this day. When I was like younger and like we all know I can't do math and I didn't short a check, but I like didn't like they tip the correct like percentage amount. And I realized as I was like driving away, I don't think I could drive. I was probably like 17 or 18 at that point and realized it and was like, oh my God, oh shit. Like ran back and was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I think I undertipped. Like, could I get like that, like sip, like back? And I think I didn't have my phone. Like I didn't like use my calculator. I think I just thought I could. It was back when I had more of an ego about it. I was like, I can do this. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Please give this like to our waitress. And like, she was there and she was like, oh, thank you. Like, I know I was like worried. I was like, oh shit. Like maybe that wasn't, I was like, no, that was like so not my intention. We're like a group of like 6 or 7, like 17-year-olds. Like you would deal with like a lot. And that is something that like I was embarrassed about accidentally under tipping. How are you not embarrassed?
One time I was hiking in the Malibu area, and I went to a restaurant over there, and like in the mountains. So when I left and I got home, I realized I didn't leave the ticket that I signed. So then that person didn't get a tip. And so I called the restaurant and I was like, I am so sorry. She was fantastic. Like, I remember how great the service was. I was like, she was fantastic. Can you please like run to do the tip? And they're like, we can't do it. Like, we physically can't do it without you being here. And it was so far, like, I couldn't go back because it was nighttime. And again, it was like an hour away. And I was just embarrassed. And so I ended up having a gift card sent to her because I was like, nice. I did not mean to do this.
Yeah. And like, it's one of those industries where you don't know how much you're going to make at the end of the day. And so you really can't have a bad day. And like, you know, like you have a lot of pressure to do all of that. And so when you like put your all into it, it's like studying for a test and then not passing, but then being like, well, why didn't I pass? And it's just, it's a lot of emotional turmoil we put service workers through.
Here's another hot take. If you can't, if you're not able to tip, you shouldn't like physically go eat at the restaurant.
It's like nannying. It's a luxury and it's not, I wish it was something that everybody had access to. I also wish that tipping culture was not
different, non-existent. Like that they would get paid. They'd actually get paid.
And there was like a job guarantee and a salary guarantee and like it was fair and all of that. And that's not happening now. And so you're not owed going to like a restaurant. Like that's just like, it's,
you can go pick it up.
Yeah. If you can't afford something, that doesn't mean that you can short somebody else from them being able to afford something like a necessity like rent. If you can't afford a luxury, it doesn't mean that someone else needs to forego affording a necessity. But yeah, fucked. Absolutely fucked.
All right, your turn.
Mine is like a half-baked lukewarm take. So more than anything, I am like really curious what other people think about this. This is not like a fully formed stance that I have right now. It's just something I've kind of noticed. But for the sake of the format of the show, my hot take is the aesthetic-fication of everything is too much. It's just too much. And this is coming from somebody who loves a good aesthetic, who loves something to like look nice and to be whatever know kind of content. But so this really stemmed from, and like no hate to this creator because I know nothing about them. So like I can't say that they deserve if people are going to hate on them or not. And all the content I saw about this was just people reacting to it, not in a positive or negative way, just more commentary. I'm not going to say the person by name either because I just don't know enough about them. But there was this viral TikTok recently of a girl who was doing get ready with me to do my taxes. And it was like one of those aesthetic TikTok videos where it's like, you know, you've got the Nespresso machine and like you're getting their pebble ice and you're putting everything and it's all clean and pristine and like so gorgeous and those quick little edits. And we're going to like the beautiful planners and we're pulling out like there's an entire drawer full of color coded highlighters and we're taking some of these ones and we're moving things and we're making a matcha and we're sitting down and we're doing all of this stuff. And I saw it because someone who used to work in accounting stitched it and was kind of just like, this is kind of a red flag for influencers doing their taxes. Like, please know that you like can't write everything off, which is like always the first thing I tell people. I'm like, get a fucking attorney to like read your contracts and get a business manager or get someone who's doing a good accountant, like CPA, someone who's doing your taxes, who has an understanding of this. Cause like you'll get audited. And that was her outlook of it. But I have really avoided those kinds of videos since TikTok has started. Like those have like really been huge and I really ignore them. The same thing with like the restocking videos. That has been giving me this similar kind of vibe. And I'm all for romanticizing like the mundane, like the everyday activities. Like I'm all for romanticizing like your own life. And that's like not what I'm talking about. And I'm also not talking about the people who will show those things and they will be including like their hacks, their tips, their tricks, like why they do what they do, like their thought process behind it, the research. And so a perfect example of someone who does the latter is Jackie Aina. Like Jackie Aina, first of all, I love her. We are birthday twins. She's everything. Her TikTok, she lives in a beautiful, gorgeous home. And she does some of these kind of restocking videos, but they're not excessive. And she's talking about the things that she's learned. She's talking about like, oh, I'm going to use this. I love this. Like, this is amazing. Like, this product is so great. Or when she bought a vacuum, she like did a whole post on it. And everybody's like, we should have gotten this other one. She was like, I researched like so much. Like, this is the one that's best for me. Like, this is why I wanted it. This is why I like it. And she's become like a trusted source and like a trusted opinion. She's someone who like, if she says she likes something, I believe her. And I trust that she's done all of this research behind it. So when she's showing something that's more aspirational, she's showing how she personally steams her duvet cover and like her favorite little portable steamer that she uses for this. And so all of this it's not opulence. It's someone who enjoys luxury and is using it in their everyday. And that to me is aspirational content. But all of like the fucking overconsumption shit, that's the thing that like I like can't deal with. So like
Can you give a specific example?
So people will do these restock videos and they don't speak. They don't talk about anything. They don't share that like, oh, this is my favorite coffee or whatever this is. They're just showing things. And it reminds me of those videos of kids just opening toys. And every single one, they're opening a new toy and a new toy and a new toy. And there's no rhyme or reason behind it. There's no reason why I, as someone who's watching it, I don't know that I want to buy that for any other reason other than I saw it and it looked nice in a video. And that's not it. Like, that's just not smart shopping at all. And people will do these restocks of like just giant like containers and buckets and buckets and buckets of like makeup products, hair stuff, like whether it's like not fruit and vegetables. Like, yeah, there's people who do like the restock and they're cutting their cucumbers and they're putting those away. And that I'm like accessible, attainable, totally makes sense. But there are these people, like it's all of this stuff where it's just like, you're making this, like, this is just a look. And now it feels like there's no rhyme or reason behind why you're doing this, why you like these things, why you pick these certain things. It's just about the look of them. And that's just like really eerie to me.
Now that you say that, I remember one that I saw where someone was taking their toothpaste out and putting it into like squeezing it out the tube and putting it into this nice container and then mixing their mouthwash with it, which you can't do. Toothpaste is in a dark container for a reason. It loses the stuff that's active ingredients if you take it out of a dark container. Also, mixing in your mouthwash breaks it down so it doesn't make it as active as it's supposed to be. Like some things are in containers for a reason. And then also like I saw some people putting their laundry detergent in a nicer container. That's what I was about
to get into.
And then it looks like something that you can eat and can be harmful for children. And it's just like, if you don't have kids, okay, but like most of the people that I've seen doing it do have kids, and then it becomes a hazard in the home.
Yeah, we're doing everything for how they look and not how effective they are. And because they're getting so popular on TikTok, they can be like at best, like that you've said, like not as effective. But at worst, they can be dangerous. I saw someone doing a laundry video and it's like aesthetic, them doing their laundry. And people like were commenting, like plumbers being like, you literally just ruined your laundry machine. Like you just used like that. You can't use those things together. You use too much. You put that in the wrong spot. Like, and it wasn't like one of those like trolling kind of accounts where they're doing things incorrectly. Like it wasn't that. It was just, you're doing it just for the look, not for actual use. But other people are watching this and like, this isn't like an animated movie. Like this is like your real life and you're an everyday person. And a lot of these people are like, oh, like mom of four, like doing that, like whatever it is. So like, therefore it seems like you are approving of this. And this is something you vetted, even if you haven't. And I literally saw someone who was doing one cleaning her toilet where someone commented, you that's a bomb. Like you created a bomb. You can't mix those cleaning products together. And it just feels like, I don't want to say that like sometimes that like not everyone needs a voice on social media. You totally do. But if you look at a niche and you're not an expert in that niche, or if you can't offer your own sort of insight there, the solution is not just to not speak and just film what you're doing, because that's also just dangerous. Like, it's not just aesthetics. It's not just looking pretty. Like, that, it can be absolutely just dangerous. And it low-key kind of just feels like it's making everyday activities, when it's the overconsumption of them, just like out of reach. And just for other people, like, I can't imagine how much it is like keeping up with the Joneses, because you're not seeing people do these videos and they're making dinner and they're making like a hamburger and they're, you know, watching TV. Like, no, you're seeing people and they're doing these aesthetic morning routines. They're drinking matcha. They're having nothing for breakfast. They're a size 2 and they're going to the gym for like 4 hours. And then they're getting in their planner and they're writing all of these things that they're doing in there. And it just automatically will, no matter what, end up at this, for a unmarried younger person, it's ending up in this like hustle culture kind of vibe, or it's ending up in diet culture, or it's just ending up in the keeping up with the Joneses. It's, as opposed to having just mommy bloggers and influencers who like young and early, like new parents are comparing themselves to, like moms are comparing themselves to, you're now comparing them to like literally everyday people on TikTok who aren't famous for anything except for the aesthetic videos of them being a mom. And like, I can't imagine how even more isolating that is. And for a creator, from that perspective too, it's like, you're only interesting. And I don't say this as like someone who like, I'm telling you, you're only interesting. I'm assuming, as someone who's been a creator for a long time, that your mindset is, wow, people only like me for the things I buy. And so I can't stop buying things because that's why people like me. Like, or the luxury, the lifestyle of that. Like, people have watched Jackie Aina since way before she had money. And like, she's someone who, I care about her. I want nothing but health and success for her. But if she didn't live in a massive, gorgeous house, I wouldn't like her any less.
And she's also careful about what she shows too. Because she also says like, I'm never going to do a home tour. I'm not going to show you X, Y, and Z, because it's just like, that's my stuff. And it's not about like, I'm sharing parts of my life that I want to share, not because it's going to like get me anything. It's just because I'm sharing it.
Yeah. And that is a tactic and something that I think a lot of people who've done long form content for a longer time, like YouTube, have done. But again, TikTok, it's so easy to blow up that I just worry about, from the viewer's point, but from the creator point as well, for these like young people who are blowing up from doing these restocking videos or these aesthetic videos. So many people live in credit card debt. So many people are like one emergency away from losing their home. And to think that maybe at this point you're a single mom and your only source of income is doing restocking videos on TikTok, that like you're going to spend all your money doing it, but if you stop, you're going to make no money. And it's just this really vicious cycle. And then as consumers of that, I see that and like I compare myself to that. And I'm like, I actively avoid all of that shit on my For You page. And I just think it can be really toxic. And I think there's a way to do it where you can insert yourself and you have a voice there, but the faceless, voiceless, conversationless kind of just like pure aesthetic content is not doing what I think a lot of people think it is, where it's like protecting your privacy and all of that. Like, you're commodifying and like monetizing you, but no real parts of you that are you, like nothing that you can like, just stuff that you buy, not things that like, not who you are, not what your thoughts, not like your sense of humor, not your personality. And that will be so, that's like chasing that forever is like so fleeting and damaging for both parties. So
yeah, I think about that too when I see the videos of people getting the Amazon, like they just buy stuff off Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's not necessarily the aesthetics, but it's just, this is what I bought off Amazon today.
Yeah. And that becomes like your sense of approval and like your social currency and all of this stuff is like literally what you spend your money on. And that's like a really dehumanizing kind of thing. And I think I'm very conscious about promoting consumerism and because I've done this for a really like long time. And definitely when I was younger, I was much more frivolous about those things. And I think like for looking back on it, it was so much more innocent than I think what's happening now. Like, I think it's like a whole new fucking level right now.
You weren't doing it to make money before.
No. And it was just like, I was doing it to make content.
Yeah, content. And now it's changed where people are doing it to make money. Like they're seeking it out specifically to make money as opposed to just showing parts of their lives.
Yeah. And even in like the excessive hauls that I like used to, like I'm not a big shopper at all now. Like if I'm spending a lot of money, like that means I'm like so fucking depressed. Like that's like she can't be alone in her house. Like she can't be alone. I have to be out of the house. I have to be somewhere else. And like that is like I've reckoned with like that like small time period like in my life. But what's happening now has so much worse like consequences for it, because you know back then like you would, if you were doing like a what I got for Christmas video, like I used to include things that I bought myself in there, and I would like, you know, because I'm trying to like beef it up to like keep up with the Joneses of the fellow creators who are doing this kind of stuff. And you know, you would try and space out your brand deals and like not accept as many because you don't want it to be like overwhelming with that stuff. Like you want to make sure you're not like shouting out too many products or doing too much of that because it doesn't remain authentic to you. But now it's people are rewarded on TikTok for doing like $1,000 Revolve haul every single day. And that's the title of the video. But like back on the day on YouTube, if you did that, like you'd be ripped to shreds. And now it just feels like TikTok is like this candy. And so we don't really have the same sort of, we don't think and hold creators on there to like the same sort of like level that I think people did in the past of like they owe them anything or whatever it is. And so you just watch these things that you might not agree with, but then people blow up for doing this. And it's just like a cycle that they can't get out of.
You're not wrong.
Great. I would love people to message about this, like the last one we just talked about, because I'm like very curious what other people's thoughts are from like a solely viewer perspective.
All right. Well, let's take a break now.
Okay, break. Sorry. Bye.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
And we're back.
Hi. How was that for you? Are you satisfied?
It was a little short, to be honest.
No one has ever said that about me ever. I'm so long. You should watch the Patreon video, everybody, because I'm doing the tongue thing Melissa hates. You know, for years of you making your fucking squelching, like nasty noises, I've only done my tongue thing twice. You did that for years. Years, bitch.
When was the last time I did it?
I don't know, but don't do it now. I'm about to take a sip of my water, and then I can't take my fucking headphones off quickly.
All right. Now it's time for But Are You Wrong? And that's when y'all write into butamiwrongpod@gmail.com and share things that are going on in your own life. Please keep it to 300 words or less. Include 100% include everyone's ages, and if you want to include pronouns. Also use fake names. Please do not use any numbers or letters because it just gets confusing for us.
Yeah, simplify. It's just reading is not always my strong suit.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
I, 27 female, went to a friend's 27 female wedding last spring. We've been friends for like 15 years. We were BFF when we were in high school, but are not that close anymore. The thing is, as a gift, they were asking for money to pay their honeymoon. I just completely forgot to put money into their online money pot. That was 7 months ago, and they already went to their honeymoon. Am I wrong for not giving them a gift? They already paid for their honeymoon, so it's not like they need the money for that. I don't know if they realized I didn't participate in the money pot, but I feel very bad. I feel it would have been even weirder if I say something now. Love you both. All right. The way that I see gifts is that giving gifts is always optional. So I don't think that you're wrong for not giving the gift. But if you do want to give a gift and you just merely forgot about the honeymoon pot, I think that there are other ways that you can gift them to bless their wedding. So you can get them a Pottery Barn gift card. What? To bless their wedding?
Bless their wedding. No, but the way it was like to bless their wedding. I'm like, so you should give them some sheets to fuck in their new apartment.
Maybe that would be to consummate. I didn't say consummate. I said
but
bless.
It gave the same energy as consummate.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, Pottery Barn's always a good bet. I don't know. Find out what they need. They might just want money. Just hand them a wad of cash, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But you can give them a card and be like, oops, my bad. Sorry, I missed the honeymoon pot, but here's some whatever you want to give. If you want to give a gift, cool. If you don't want to give a gift, whatever. So I don't think you're wrong because, again, gifts are optional. They're not needed.
I so agree with you that gifts are optional. I am so fucking curious, though, if people who have weddings, who they always say, like, gifts are optional, like, the true gift is, like, your attendance at our wedding. And if anyone listening knows me and, like, they're like, wow, that was a personal attack. No, literally every single wedding I've been to, it literally says that. But I'm curious, like, to the brides, people who've had weddings, grooms, brides, people who got married, whatever, like, did you mean it? Like, I'm really curious. Like, audience, please send us a message. Like, let us know. Like, would you have been upset? Because I'm feeling the same way where I'm just like, oh, like, gifts are optional. Like, I've always brought a gift because we've financially been able to give a gift and I didn't forget. But honestly, a lot of that is also thanks to Mott's. But like, if I forgot to give a gift, I don't know. Like, to me, I'm kind of just like, I would probably not give one because I would just be like, well, let's see if you really meant it. Like, if you didn't mean it and then this changes our friendship because I didn't get you a wedding gift when you said my gift was like, my presence was a gift enough. Like, that's passive aggressive as fuck.
I think that anyone, like, in any situation, it doesn't matter if it's a wedding, if it's a birthday, if it's Christmas. I just feel like gifts are not something that you should expect. A gift like that's part of the meaning of a gift. It's something that you're giving, like, from the kindness of your heart. You should never go into anything expecting to get a gift.
Yeah. I think for like holidays and birthdays and things with like a significant other, I think that's an but that's a conversation you have.
That's not conversation. Yeah.
So you have an expectation based on a conversation. And like in this case, the conversation is because it's an exchange. Like a wedding, a lot of people view a wedding as an exchange. They spend a lot of money on their wedding for you to attend. But I think a lot of people also don't understand that like guests spend a lot of fucking money going to weddings.
Mm-hmm. You have to buy an outfit. You have to get if it's not where you're living, you have to get a hotel room. You have to get flight. You have to pay for food that when you're not at the wedding. Like there's so much that goes into
scheduling, taking time off of work, maybe like all of it. Like it's a lot. And I think like wedding gifts should be for people like the only people I think who anyone should expect or like couples getting married who should expect people to give wedding gifts are people who don't have a high cost for attending said wedding and have an immense amount of disposable income, and you have a gift-giving relationship with them. Like, that's the only time that I could think I would even feel comfortable being salty in my own head. I would never say it out loud, but if like I'm going to be salty about it, like it has to be that perfect circumstance of that. And it's like, oh, you gifted like my brother like $5,000 and you gave me nothing. Like that, it has to feel like a slight in my mind in order for it to have been an actual slight. Like there has to be some like real issue going on here, and the issue's not giving a gift. But I don't think you should. I don't think you need to. I think you're totally fine. I think like Melissa said, like if you like want to and you like don't want to, it feels too late for this, then like you said it was last spring, like past spring. So like we're coming up on a year for their anniversary, like getting them something. Like I would probably do like some sort of like housewarming thing. Or I actually just saw this video from We're Mutuals. We've like become friends. Her name is Lindsay. Yeah, the real Lynn Shady. There's underscores between all of that. She just did a TikTok the day that we're recording this. So if you want to scroll back to it, it is January 10th. And the cover of it is like a little blue box. And she got this wedding keepsake trunk that she like put in like her veil and all of that stuff. So if you want to do something like wedding-y themed for like your friend specifically, like I think that's like a sweet kind of sentimental gift. Like if you want to do something tied to the wedding, I think a 1-year anniversary of the wedding and giving a gift that's somewhat wedding related in like a keepsake for your invitation. But also maybe they threw all of that away already. But stuff like that, I think like there's no harm in it. But I think it'd be low-key kind of weird to give them money now.
I accept money at any time. So if anybody wants to slide into my Venmo, then I have a birthday coming up.
Please. All I get from Venmo is people asking for it.
All right. Your turn.
Hi, love your work. Thank you. It's the greatest way anyone's ever said this. Big fan, love your work. You both rock and are super hot and always right, Obvi. Love you. Going to jump into this one. I just quit my retail job to undertake an unpaid internship, legal in my country and required for my course. I just got my last pay slip and I was overpaid. I had worked only 2 shifts my last week, but was paid for 4 with some weekend rates when I didn't work the weekend. The pay is work by our manager submitting a spreadsheet with hours worked, and I'm guessing she forgot to change mine from the previous week because it's the exact same hours and pay as what I worked the previous week. So my manager could get in trouble if found out. It's about $400 extra. The company is medium-sized, about 12 locations and decent online sales, and doesn't treat its employees amazingly, but also isn't horrible. That being said, I'm not poor and I'm white and my parents are upper middle class and highly educated and support me a fair bit, so I also benefit from capitalism and privilege. And even though I'm currently unemployed whilst doing this internship, I have savings and I'm being supported by my parents and my partner. So I don't need the extra money, but this company also won't struggle without it. Feels like it's relevant for this ethical dilemma. Legally, in my country, if a workplace does this, they can just pay you less during the next pay, but the only pay left is the payout of my annual leave. The question is, am I wrong if I don't say anything? Keep the money and dip? Thank you. Bye. Ethically, I would want to know what would happen to your manager. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is it an actual, like, would she get in trouble, or would it be just like is she going to get fired? Is she going to have to pay for it in that sense? Or would it have been like oh shit, she catches it and, or they say something and they go, oh, my bad, it won't happen again. Like, I think that's hard because if it was just your company and, you're legally safe, I would say totally keep the money. But I think if there's a chance that it has to come out of your manager's paycheck, then I would not keep it. I also would wonder, would she reach out to you or would she just have to pay for it out of her paycheck?
And then I'm also like, if this is happening a lot, like she is making this mistake a lot, like, and not being called out on it, it will eventually hurt the company as a whole. Or if this is something that she just did one time. I feel like if it's something she just did one time, it probably, if the company is fine, like you said, they're not like terrible, but they treat y'all okay. If this is just a one-time thing, I don't feel like if it would be a big deal. But if this is something that's happened a few times, then she does need to, realize that this is happening and some type of discipline would need to occur. And again, when they're doing the accounting for the company and they reconcile things, it's gonna come up short. $400 for a medium-sized company is a significant amount of money. And
also, I don't know what country you're in specifically, but too. Taxes, that's something that Mott's he didn't get underpaid by his company or overpaid, but his company, not his current company, a very old one, this was years ago. They told the IRS that they paid him X amount and it just didn't match. But him as the employee, he was the one who had to cover the difference and then pursue reimbursement through the legal system. But they put that responsibility on the individual because it's so I don't know about taxes, but you might get bit in the ass if you claim this on your taxes and it doesn't match what they put on their end.
Exactly.
Because
that's
she
what
might
I meant
correct
by reconciliation.
It. Yeah. So she might correct it then, and then at least in the US, that penalization does not go for the company over reporting or under reporting what you made. They'll come after you. That's just what they do here. So I don't know if it's different. And I would also say that if the workplace does this, they can just pay you less the next pay period. There's definitely a clause for what they do if it's your last pay period. So I think that it's not if it's your last pay period, it's legal, you can keep the money. There's definitely something else there. So I would research that more, because it might be that the employee or the company gets to decide where that money comes from to cover the cost. And it could come from other employees or whatever it is. So if that's the case, if there's a legal grounds for why they can take it from the employee, but if legally they cannot take it from your manager and it only can come from them, then I think if your desire to keep it is greater than your potential anxiety or worry that this might mess something up for somebody else, then go for it. But I don't think that if you're having second guesses about it and you've done all of that research and it's still it wouldn't affect anybody but you, but if you still aren't, if there's still a part of you that feels some type of way about it, I don't think it's worth it to
I don't think it's worth it at all. I think you should tell them. I think you'd be wrong if you don't say anything.
Yeah.
All right. Next one.
Yes.
Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I, 30 she, her, went home for Thanksgiving for the first time. I recently moved to a different city, so this was more like a vacation for me than normally is. However, my relatives clearly did not see it that way. They kept dragging me everywhere, and when I declared that I didn't want to go somewhere, they were really confused and kept asking me why. I simply said I did not want to go. My cousin, Dennis, 34, he, him, and his wife pawned their 5-year-old son off on me to babysit without asking. They just said, Savannah, fake name, will keep you company, and dipped. Normally, I would be okay with this, but I have ADHD and I was overstimulated. Dennis has no sense of boundaries. He also put his son on my shoulders without my consent earlier that week, which is partially why I didn't want to go with them. I started noticing more and more that Dennis is a straight up asshole. What really set me off is when we were at my mom's house, he would push my dog, Andy, to he/him buttons. He's a sweet animal who would never hurt anyone. As the week went on, Andy was growing less and less tolerant of Dennis's bullshit. It got to the point where Andy growled at Dennis and hid behind me with his tail tucked between his legs. This was the last straw, and I snapped and yelled, "Stop fucking messing with the dog." No one reprimanded me for doing this, but am I wrong for raising my voice at him? He clearly doesn't know how to act around dogs. Jesus Christ. No.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, you're not wrong. And I feel like everyone around you knew that he was being an asshole, and that's why no one said anything to you. Fuck Dennis. Also, I hate when this was more when I first moved to LA and then would go back home, and everyone expected me to see them for everything and tried to take me places. And I was like, I got to the point where I just told my parents, because my mom mostly would post on Facebook that I was back, and I told her stop posting. And I wouldn't let people know that I was in town because it was too much. Like, people don't understand that you just came back from where you were. You're tired. You haven't had a break, just because everyone expects everything from you, and you may be the one person they see, but they aren't the only person that wants to see you. So it's exhausting. But again, you're not wrong for yelling at Dennis, and anybody that treats animals with cruelty is just disgusting as it is.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I think about the overstimulation and like being around kids all the time. Like, I love my nephew to absolute death, and we're at the perfect age where like he loves sensory play, I love sensory play. Like, he loves funny voices, I love funny voices. Like, we're the same. We're on the same bandwidth. But like, there was one time that he just kept, like, his shoes were wet. And I have a really big thing with noises. Like, that's usually yes, like sensations and like touch and whatever, but like sounds make me cry. Like, I'm so easily overstimulated by noise. And he like had his wet shoes on and was like making like a squeaking noise again on the back of the driver's side of the car. He was in his car seat and he was making that noise. And like, I was like, oh, let's not do that. I'm like trying to be really nice about it. And then finally I'm just like trying to like just like go out, like just leave my body. Like, I'm just trying to like completely zone out. And in those instances, like, I think, and like, his parents are like very aware of that with me and like stimulation things. And so like knowing that like someone who's overstimulated is not going to be a good person to watch your child at that moment. Like, I'm not a nice person when that happens. Like, I'm in a fight or flight. Like, I'm in a desperation trying to deal with whatever it is, like whether it's a noise, whether it's light, whether it's a feeling, anything like that. And the idea that like you're just going to like throw a kid on you to do that is also just, not only is it inconsiderate, but it's like bad parenting. Like, you are not sure if this person can actually be capable of handling this right now, and that's where you're going to leave your kid. Like, that's just so ridiculous. So you're so not wrong. And I do think this is sadly a very common sort of thing that people just expect you to come back into your routines. And that's not what happens when you're an adult.
Mm-mm.
But hey, look, you had the greatest time the last time you went.
I did.
Was this the first time your mom didn't post about it?
No. This one I was actually okay, because I wouldn't even let her post pictures of me until I was gone. But I had such a firm foot down of telling people I wasn't going to see them. So I told her it was fine with her posting. Well,
I was going to say, so like setting those like very firm boundaries, you had more fun. And you were then everyone else also had more fun because you were all enjoying that experience together. Like, boundaries like that, like those, they benefit absolutely everyone.
Yeah. This was more so like early, because I've been here for 12 years now, but this was more early on.
I always do everything to the comparison of teachers who give you 5 hours of homework thinking you have no other classes. And you're like, why do you think you are the center of my universe? Like, if you're asking me this, do you not think that 1,001 other people are? Because like, if we were so close, you wouldn't need to ask me. Like, you wouldn't need to like insert yourself here and demand as much time as you're demanding. Like, it would have been a given because it's a mutual relationship. But like,
yeah,
you're very not wrong. Hi, Eminem. Me and my partner, both 22, have been together nearly 4 years and are long distance. We've been having issues lately, mainly with different priorities in the relationship. He has recently gotten closer with some people from work, and there have been instances of him choosing them over me when I go visit him. One weekend I was visiting, they suggested plans of meeting up for food and then going to do an activity. I told my boyfriend multiple times that I was uncomfortable with the activity and I didn't want to go. But I was more than happy to get dinner with them and then we could do something by ourselves. He didn't tell them that we wouldn't be going to the activity, so in the end, I was forced to go. He drove and I had no way of getting home. Am I wrong for thinking I should be more important to him than these new friends? He has asked why we can't be equal, but I feel like in a relationship, your significant other should be more important than new friends. This is a tough time for me, so please be honest but gentle. Thanks and love the pod. I don't think that you're wrong. I think the phrasing makes it sound, I don't think that I think your phrasing is wrong, but I don't think that your feelings are wrong. And I don't think the phrasing matches your feelings because I don't think your relationship, like, I don't know how long, 4 years, 4 years in long distance. I think like when you start quantifying what is more important, friends or a relationship, then you start weighing like, okay, well, these are people you've been friends with for this long and we've been together for this long. And then always when you do that, it will mean the same thing in the like reverse. So then it's like you have a friend for 15 years and you have a relationship for like 2 weeks and you're just going to say, well, this is more important than this. Mm-hmm. And it's just not always the case. But I think this is not an issue of wanting to be of equal or more importance. I think it's an issue of time and consideration because you're in a long distance relationship. So I do think in those cases, when you're in a long distance relationship, there should be ample planning when you are meeting up, like before you are seeing each other for what the breakdown of it is going to be, because it's a lot to fit into a short period of time and you're having to kind of play physical catch up. I don't mean like sexually, but I just mean like your relationship emotionally progresses, but you haven't spent time physically together. So you're like logging those hours. And I had a couple friends, had lots of friends who've been in long distance relationships, but one who had like the most successful and they're married and everything's great was that they were like really explicit with each other and their friends about what their plans were for each time that they were like meeting up for something long distance. So it would be like, oh, I'm going to be MIA for this weekend. Like he's going to come visit and we're going to go to like the winery for the weekend and blah, 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 blah. So there was no friends feeling lesser or feeling not included. And then there were other times where it was like, oh, I've got like a school thing, sorority thing that I have to go do. So, or there's a formal and he's going to come where he's like, let's all go to dinner. Like, let's all plan this stuff. So like, I think there needs to be like a lot of planning ahead of it because it's so easy to be set up for disappointment because it's like New Year's or Christmas or Halloween. Like it's like this day or this like time period that like means so much. And unless you have expectations and set expectations, it's going to be really hard to meet whatever expectations you don't realize that you have. And I think the way that you went about that of being like a compromise, like, and also not because you didn't say like, well, I don't want to hang out with them. It was like, oh, I really don't want to do that activity. And like, you know, it can also be that you don't want to spend that much time with them. I think that was a really great compromise. I think it was really sucky that he just was like, oh, we're just going to go and I'm not going to like say anything to them. But I think it'll be easier for both of you if you set expectations ahead of time, because I think he'll feel better. Like it's hard to sometimes.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their firsthand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Sometimes feel like you can't decline things from new friends because you think that those relationships are a little more fragile, and it's easier to make your relationship suffer because your relationship is way more sturdy. And it's not that it's more or less important. It's the same thing that you're looking at where you're like, well, we've been together for this long. You've only known them for this long. So he might feel like he can't like say no and that, but he should. And like, if he can't actually say no, and they would be upset. Like, they're not the right friends for him. But I think it would do you both really good to set expectations ahead of time.
Yeah, agree. And also I just want to add in that a lot of times with long distance relationships, like, do y'all plan on being long distance forever, or are you going to eventually live in the same place? Because if you're going to eventually live in the same place, which is what most people want in a long distance relationship, that it will eventually not be long distance anymore. If you've cut him off to the point where, like, him being with his friends when you're there isn't the norm, it doesn't mean that every time you go you have to hang out with his friends or you have to spend all day with his friends. But if you don't make it to the point where this feels like it would be like a weekend where y'all are actually living in the same place and his life isn't completely separate, his life with his friends isn't completely separate from his life with you, then if you set that up, it's going to be an unrealistic expectation for when y'all are actually in the same place. And then the unrealistic expectation could, if you don't have clear communication, lead to the demise of your relationship because you guys were never actually being yourselves when you're long distance.
Yeah, like that's disappointing future you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's a really good point too. It's half of, I think, the visiting and long distance is, yes, making up for lost physical time, but also we don't know that we can live in the same place together. So like we don't have as much time as other people dating in the same city to like know we mesh on a friendship level and like our social lives, like how late do we stay up? Like all of these things, like when they're just these like special occasions and special events, your routines are really different. So like you might be pretty incompatible. So that's,
I wouldn't think of like it being a special time unless like it's like an anniversary or a birthday or something. It shouldn't feel like any different than what it would feel like on a day-to-day level, because then you're putting too much pressure on it to be this like wonderful magic time where every day is not wonderful and magical, not especially, but with a partner, everything is not this just like specialized time that's only for you. Make it as real as possible. So yeah. I guess I do think that you're wrong.
If we're literally solely going off of how you phrased it, I do think you're wrong.
You should be more important.
Yeah, I think it's like, am I wrong for thinking I should be more important to him than these new friends? I think you're wrong for that. I don't think that I don't think that's the best way to summarize your issue and like what you're dealing with, because I do think the situation, I think he was wrong in how he handled the situation. I think you were right in how you handled that. But I think it's a communication issue, and I think that could be solved. And I think you just need boundaries and expectations, because the worst thing ever is feeling like your expectations, like you're feeling let down, disappointed, and they weren't met. But we need to set those in order for other people. Like it's not fair to hold people to a standard that they don't know that they were supposed to do. And they need to be specific. So I guess technically I do think you're wrong, but just for that sentence in how you phrased it, but not for the sentiment.
You're wrong for the question that you asked.
Yeah. Sorry, but you're not wrong in the other sense of it. Okay.
All right. We're going to take a break.
Woohoo!
Break.
Oh my gosh.
And now it is time for But Are They Wrong, aka Rachel of the Week. That is when we pick somebody in pop culture, the news, in the world that we like to nominate for the worst of the week.
The worst of the worst.
Mine is Askern Medical Practice in Doncaster, England.
Bitch, you always got such interesting ones that I never heard of. I'm excited.
I research. I do research. So thousands of patients at a British medical clinic received some horrific news right before Christmas on December 23rd. And they were told via text that they had aggressive lung cancer. And the text message was sent by mistake. Thousands of people received this. Then they, about 30 minutes later, after people had panicked, been scared shitless, received a text message that said, please accept our sincerest apologies for the previous text message sent. This has been sent in error. Our message to you should have read, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. The message also referred to a DS 1500 form, which is issued to people who are believed to be suffering from a potential terminal illness. I'm sorry, I said 30 minutes. It actually took an hour for most people to get it. And there's for example, there was one person who had been waiting for biopsy results right before she received this message. So this made it look like she had cancer, and she said that she felt sick to my teeth and broken down. There's another woman that said that she was shaking and close to tears. One man said that he won't be returning to the practice. There was another person who received it, but their mother also went to the same place and got the exact same text message. So they were like, oh, okay, so this was a fluke. As of right now, the clinic has not publicly commented on the matter after sending the correction. And so, Askern Medical Practice, I would like to say that you're the worst of the week, because why would you send that out in a text message anyway? Even if somebody did have lung cancer, why would that be sent out? And I know that it was an accident. I know that it wasn't meant to be sent, but why was that on the ready for it to be sent to everyone?
Well, my question is, and Doncastrians, please let us know, that you can't do that in America. So are you legally allowed to do that? Was this the cruelest prank ever, that someone hacked it and then did that? Because that's the part that I'm maybe that's why they haven't done a statement on it, because it was oh, but maybe they don't want to claim every fucking person who says something offensive on Twitter and then goes, oh, I was hacked. And you're okay.
But if you were hacked, that seems like that's something you should say immediately, because that's also a cybersecurity issue. Because if they were able to get to everybody's phone numbers at the practice, then that's something that should be public information, because that means a lot of their medical information would also be at risk.
Well, I agree. And I think they should. But part of me wonders if that's why they didn't, because they don't know who got in or how they got in. They don't want to alarm people and let them know until they have it sorted. So I have zero knowledge of this kinds of laws there. So if anyone knows if this is protocol, or what's the what are people thinking that happened? Do people really think this was a total mistake? I know that happened I forget, was it Hawaii? It was somewhere. I don't think it was Florida. I think it might've been Hawaii. It was some place to lots of water, and all these people either on their phones or TVs, or it might have even been one of those speaker system things, basically saying a tsunami was coming, and oh yeah,
it was Hawaii.
And then that was someone just accidentally pushed that big red button, and it was oh shit. So I think for people in the UK, they might hear that and they go, how is that even legal? How does that happen? But to me, I'm yeah, that makes sense. So does this make sense? Does this feel like a plausible thing that could have happened? Because it obviously happened, but happened just on an accident, so easily. That's just awful.
Terrible. So there's mine. What do you have?
It's a he. Surprise, surprise. Hey, I was defending men a couple of weeks ago, and I'm here back on my platform of hating men. So I would like to nominate Logan Paul. And we are not getting into the history of Logan Paul, because
I haven't heard his name in so long, because I have him muted on everything. So this is a shock to me.
Am I blocked yet? Let's see if I'm blocked, if he still follows me. God damn it. This boy, at least David finally unfollowed me. But Logan Paul is just a absolute glutton for like, you know, just shit talking. Yeah, David unfollowed me, but Logan never did. So this is obviously not going to be a history of Logan Paul because I value everybody's time here and it's just not worth it. And so if you would love to hear some of the history of him and what he's doing currently, I will say, just as a little background, a lot of people do think that like, wow, he's like changed so much. He's like grown so much. He's learned, blah, blah, blah. Like he's just such a better person. No, he got a podcast and he decides the topics that they talk about. And specifically the reason why he looks like a quote unquote good guy or a better guy is because he surrounds himself with horrible, horrible guys who are his little lackeys who have their horrible fucking takes. And then he gives you a lukewarm, slightly less offensive take or whatever it is. And then he looks so much better than them. Like it's really what it is. I'm here for growth and I'm here for change. But when somebody moves to Puerto Rico for taxes, no, just truly no. So speaking of Puerto Rico, he has come under fire after the Gentle Barn in Santa Clarita posted a TikTok saying that they were taking in a pig named Pearl. And they mentioned in their caption saying Pearl was found alone in a field next to another pig who had passed away. She came to us with tattered ears and potentially life-threatening infection in her uterus that has since been healed. She's clearly been through so much trauma and we can't begin to imagine, but she's safe with us now at the Gentle Barn. From what we've been told, it's believed she was purchased originally from a breeder by an influencer. People often buy quote unquote mini pigs or teacup pigs for clout online, believing they will stay small. When they inevitably grow very large and have very many unexpected needs, they're sadly discarded. While we don't know everything she's been through in the past, we know that her life now is filled with friends, nutritious foods, and the highest quality care and so much love. So Logan Paul had this pig that he got over 2 years ago, maybe even more. I think this is in 2020. He might have bought the pig. And he posted a photo with the pig saying, I bought this pig a year ago. It was supposed to be a mini pig and she's clearly huge. So Logan has seemingly confirmed that it is in fact his pig because he sent an email to the organization. Okay, so just for a little background, so he left California in 2021 to move to Puerto Rico, he said on his podcast. But then he said he left the pig Pearl in the care of a horse ranch in Santa Clarita when he was moving to Puerto Rico because he couldn't bring her with him. And in that email where he says that, as he's apologizing, he's sending his love and, how can I help to the organization who has now taken over for this pig. He claims that he moved to Puerto Rico in April of 2020. So he didn't. He was still in California. The timelines are there. So he's basically trying to create this timeline in which I wanted to bring her to Puerto Rico with me. They wouldn't let me bring her, so I couldn't. So I gave her to a farm that lived across the street and they were so great. And I guess he passed away and then he gave it to someone who then called you to take the pig back. But really being I did everything that I could. But, forgetting that he has multiple, he is he is a social media Bigfoot print, podcasts, Instagram, everything, documenting when he moved, documenting all of this shit. And he didn't leave then when that happened. So that timeline does not add up at all. And it seems like the pig farm, they have a timeline from somebody else. And so it's not necessarily lining up, but Gentle Barn did have a spokesperson come out that said that an emailed statement that they have now received an email from Logan Paul thanking them for taking Pearl the pig. And Logan has not responded to any comments about it, but I just think it's scum and scummy. I really understand. I think I'm a little bit more empathetic than, I don't want to say I'm not an animal person because I am, but I had got big anxiety when it comes to dogs, big dogs. I got jumped on by a dog when I was 3 and almost if my like little 3-year-old boyfriend didn't jump in front and save me, like he would have bitten my face off. Like it was, and like he like bit my friend's arm, and I was really afraid. Like I've always had like a kind of a big thing with that. I don't like horses. Like, so I'm not an animal person, but I do think I come at it with a bit more empathy for people who, you know, maybe haven't historically always made the best pet ownership choices and have like learned from that, or have recognized their own capabilities and like rehomed a pet. Like, I don't think rehoming a pet is the worst thing in the world. I think if you can't have a pet, you should rehome it. And I don't think it should be like, well, tough shit, this is a consequence of your actions. Like, no. I think if you have any instinct to rehome a pet, you should do it. And then you shouldn't get another pet for a while. And then if you want to try again, go for it. But like, I think humans are flawed. And I think like we take on more than we can handle. And I think it's always better to know when you've taken on too much and rectify that with what you can. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a good thing to do as long as you're learning. This is not that. Like, this is an example of someone with a fully developed brain, allegedly. But like, this is like, he's over 25 and he did this for clout. Like he did, like, you didn't do any research about that. Like, this isn't like you got evicted from your apartment, you couldn't have this anymore, or like your financial situation changed and you couldn't pay for it. Like, you genuinely didn't do your fucking research. You did it for a video so you could make money off of it. And then you abandoned and rehomed this pet. Like, this is what I think that energy is reserved for. Like, this was like callous. This wasn't like your mental health, you couldn't take care of it. Like, no, this was you saying that when you're moving to Puerto Rico for tax reasons, they wouldn't let you bring that. So you're also making Puerto Rico the bad guy when that also didn't even happen. I think he's just like a piece of shit. And I think part of the reason why he kind of gets a pass is because people view him as less shitty than his brother. And I just need us to not stack up shitty men against each other and then therefore rank some shitty ones higher. Like, they're all fucking bottom of the barrel. Like, ugh. Anyways, that's it. We hope you enjoyed. Send us your situations to
butamiwrongpod@gmail.com.
That's it. We hope you enjoyed. Send us your submissions. And if you would like to nominate anybody, first of all, definitely go comment on the latest Instagram who you would nominate for your Rachel of the Week, and or send us who you want us to talk about for next week. Always, you can tag us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and we will do our best, or even just send us a message and be like, would love to hear you talk about this. Always great to know. Hot takes. If you have a hot take that you wonder if we have as well, maybe we can advocate on your behalf and we can just lie and say we also have that hot take. It's like you with your farting.
What are you talking about?
Melissa's lies.
I'm
discovered.
a virtue of truth, justice, and the American way.
God bless America. We hope y'all enjoyed. And we'll stay tuned for tomorrow, for Friday. Oh, yeah, voting is tomorrow, Friday. Did we already say this?
Nope.
Okay, so tomorrow, most likely. If not this weekend, make sure you're following us on Instagram so you can stay up to date for when we post the votes for the episodes, so you can vote on who you think was wrong in every segment. They will only be up for 24 hours. And hey, you never know when they're going to be up. So you should be following us so you see them. And just, check Friday, check Saturday, check Sunday. You've got 24 hours to get them. And I will always put them in the highlights. And if I missed one in the highlight, send me a message. If I haven't posted them yet and it's like Saturday, like afternoon, whatever, like you totally can DM me and just be like, hey, this is your reminder to post the votes. It's totally fine. I won't be offended. And that is it. Goodbye.
Bye. We'll circle back.
Oh, yes, that is how we end it. But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. she suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.